Hi guys, welcome back to You've Got This, the channel that's dedicated to teaching you all the life skills that you need to make it in this world. Today I'm going to give you 15 great ideas for having fun on the cheap. You know, I don't know about you, but I get pretty tired of spending money all the time. It's so easy to drop $100 in a day on just kind of stuff you might regret later. You know, going out on the town at night, it adds up, especially if you're catching a ride like with Lyft or Uber, and then you're paying cover charges and then drinks and maybe some food, or even if you're just going out for food at a restaurant, or you decided to eat out and go to the mall shopping. I mean, it's so easy to spend a lot of money, and it's stressful when you're, when you're dropping money all the time. So there are so many ways to have fun without having to spend a lot of money. And my very first tip for you is just to pack a sandwich, grab your day pack and go on a hike or go on a bike ride and go find some place to hang out and eat your sandwich. Maybe it's a beautiful vantage point, maybe it's by the lake shore, but it's just fun to get out and do something like that, and it costs almost nothing. My second idea is have a game night. Pull out your board games, pull out your Cards Against Humanity, invite a couple friends over, make a bowl of popcorn, grab a couple drinks, and just spend the night playing games. If you don't have board games, you can rent them at the library sometimes, or you can just go find them for next to nothing at thrift stores or yard sales. We like to play Scrabble and, of course, Cards Against Humanity. What else do we play? Well, we do a lot of backgammon and cribbage and things like that too. The next idea is to go out to the movies, but do it on the cheap. The next idea is to go to the movies, but you can do that on the cheap too. Go to a matinee. If you go before usually 3 o'clock or even 5, if you go before 5, matinees are cheaper. We have a theater around here that has $5 movies all day on Tuesday. Take your own treats, take your own Junior Mints, or hide a bag of popcorn in your day pack, and then you don't have to pay the expensive concession stand fees. Then you don't have to pay the expensive concession Then you don't have to pay the expensive concession stand prices. The next idea is to get online and see what your local university or college has in the way of free lectures. There are often free lectures or performances like recitals, music recitals at your universities and colleges, and they can be really interesting and fun and just take you out of your normal routine. Go do something, maybe learn something new. Another fun thing to do is to go to an art opening. Check out your galleries and see if they're going to be having any openings, or maybe there aren't any openings, but you can also just go wander through different galleries. It's fun to check out artwork. And that brings me to my next idea, which is to go to a museum. Museums can be inexpensive. Some of them are pricey, but some of them are only $5 or $10. And it's fun to maybe go learn a little bit about the local history, or to go learn about a new artist, or just to see something that you've never seen before. And maybe just grab a sandwich or a treat and stick it in your bag and eat on their pretty grounds, because lots of them have beautiful grounds in which they're situated. Was that a dumb one?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Have you been to your local library lately? Libraries have all kinds of things going on. You can rent DVDs. Last year, my daughter and I binged on Halloween movies. So we tried to hit every Halloween movie we could think of that was scary and we hadn't seen in a while. So we watched The Blair Witch Project, The Omen, Rosemary's Baby. Trying to think what else we watched. We watched a bunch, but we got kind of in the mood for Halloween. You could do that for any season. It could be Christmas movies, it could be summertime movies, just anything that gets you in a fun mood. And libraries are a great place for free DVDs. And speaking of libraries, did you know that they often have free classes? So why don't you take a look at your local library and see if they have any classes that you might be interested in. I looked at our library just to see what they might have. They have like a craft night where you can get together with other people and do whatever craft it is that you're into. They have belly dancing classes. They had lectures from people's travels. There are all kinds of cool things, and that would be a free fun thing to do. Another way to have cheap fun is to check out a meetup group. You know, meetup groups get together for all kinds of different interests. It could be that you're into paddling, or you're into bike riding, or you're into looking at constellations and astronomy, or sailing. It could be all kinds of things. And you know, maybe you'll find some like-minded people that you would enjoy hanging out with. In the meantime, make some new friends while you're at it. There's nothing more fun than getting together with your friends and eating food together. I'm going to say that again. There's nothing more fun and time-honored than getting together with your friends and eating. Why don't you have a potluck? Then you're not cooking the whole dinner. Maybe you'll make a cheap bowl of, or a big pot of chili, and have your friends bring all the different toppings that go on the chili. It's an inexpensive way to get together, eat, and hang out. You know, it's really fun to kind of celebrate the changes in the seasons by getting outside. And one way to do that is, if you live in an area like I do in New England, you can just put a hot thermos of tea in your car and just drive around and check out the fall colors. Or maybe instead of that, like when I used to live in Tucson near the desert, in the evenings, just making it a little bit of an event when the sun was setting to hop in the car or on our bikes and ride out to a place that we like to sit on the rocks and just watch the sunset. Do you have a lot of old sports equipment hanging out in your garage or your attic? Why don't you pull out your old sports equipment? Do you have a bocce ball set, or a tennis racket, or golf clubs that are just sitting there getting dusty, old cross-country skis, any of that kind of stuff, a mitt and a baseball, a frisbee? Pull out your stuff and go to a park. Or, you know, our parks have tennis courts. There are municipal golf courses that have very low rates to play around. So, you know, remember that you've got some stuff that you could be using to play with, and get out and play a little bit. Do you have any lakes, ponds, or streams near you, or maybe beaches if you're super lucky, that you could go swimming at? You don't need to pay for a public pool, and it's much more fun to go out somewhere in the wild and just go take a dip and catch some fresh air. We have a lake near us, and during the summer months, we're on our bikes riding down the trail to the little beaches on the lake and swimming all the time. And we take our sandwiches, maybe some drinks, tunes usually a cribbage board, and we just make a day of it, and it costs almost nothing. Another fun idea is something that we do regularly, and that is get yourself some cheap art supplies. And when you go out, maybe taking a walk in the park or hiking on a trail, going up to a mountaintop, sitting by a pond, anything like that, document what you're doing by creating a little tiny bit of artwork. You know, art supplies can be a little expensive when you first buy them, but they last forever if you take care of them. And when you break down the cost over many, many years of use, it's extremely cheap. And let me just tell you, I'm going to show you a couple things that we have that we do. I've had these paintbrushes since I was a teenager, so they're probably over 40 years old, and they're still great. If you take care of them, wash them, and let them dry, they'll last you forever. This is a little portable watercolor set. It's pretty cool. Now this isn't cheap. I think it's probably like 30 or 40 bucks, but it'll last you a long time. It has paint, palettes. This is a little tiny water flask to hold water, and it even comes with the cutest little tiny paintbrush so that you can really truly just make sketches while you're out. But you can find all kinds of things. Another fun thing is you could just take some ink pens and a pad of paper. You could also, these are cool, these are colored pencils that when you add water to them, you can sketch on your book, and then when you add water with a paintbrush, they become watercolor pencils. Those aren't very expensive at all. When my daughter and I go out hiking, we take a little journal, and instead of taking pictures, we paint pictures. of where we're sitting. We usually take some food and maybe some drinks and spend a good hour and a half, 2 hours there while we're just sitting there and we paint. I'll show you some of the things we did, and it's a fun way to remember what you did for the day. I mean, you could also take a camera, shoot some footage, or take some photographs, but something that isn't just walking through a scene, but actually sitting down and taking note of where you are at. You know, there's really no wrong or right way to do art. All art is valid. Any way that you want to do it, however yours looks, is awesome. These are 2 pictures that my daughter and I did. This was my daughter's and this was mine when we took a hike. And we sat by a river and we had a picnic lunch, and we spent a little bit of time just taking a look at where we were at and documenting it, and it was so fun. This was another hike we took. We went up onto a vantage point and looked out over a big, huge lake. And this was her version and this was my version, and they're both pretty accurate, I would say. Anyway, you can see it's pretty fun to create a little bit of a journal of where you are, and I hope you'll try it. So next time, instead of spending a lot of money that you might regret later, think about, make yourself a list, because you might like things that are different than the things that I like. Make yourself a list so that you can remember, hey, when I feel like going and doing something but I don't want to spend money, well, here are some things that I could be doing, and you can just take a list and remind yourself of some of the things that you think are fun, or step out of the box and go do something you never would do ordinarily, like attending a lecture that might be interesting. Thanks for joining us on You've Got This. I hope I see you back here again next time. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and push on the subscribe button. Thanks. See you later.